Hello, hello, everyone. I see people joining in. Wonderful. We've got 2 so far. We're going to go ahead and start in about 30 seconds, okay? I'm going to start by muting everyone. I can see that most of you are muted as well. Let me go ahead and mute everyone. And we'll get started soon. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Oh, hi, Beth. Nice to see you. Hello, everyone. Let's go ahead and get started. My name is Iman, and I am an instructional coach for Knowing Technologies. Today's session, we're going to talk about Jamboard. So let me go ahead and first start by sharing my screen. I'll talk about a couple of ground rules for us today. As you can see, all of you have been muted when I started the session, but if you have any questions, you can write them inside the chat feature on the side. And my buddy Laura, who's also in this session with us, is going to help answer. If at any point we have time towards the end, hi Laura, look at her with the Golden Gate background. if at any point we have time towards the end, we can unmute ourselves and ask questions as well. Okay. Before I start sharing my screen, I'm going to actually paste inside the chat window a resource for you that you can reference over and over and over again throughout the next couple of weeks. It's basically a running slide deck of all of our presentations with all of the screen recordings after the session is ending. Like I'm recording this one right now, so that you can come back and take a look at it over and over again. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to share my screen. All right. So welcome everyone. If you would like to follow along with the presentation on your phone as well, you can take your phone and you can scan that little QR code right there, or you can share the bit.ly, which is at the bottom as well. So tons of different ways for you to access this presentation. This is our team. I am Iman, I am an educator, and I'm one of 5 fabulous people in this team that are also educators that are going to be leading coaching sessions this week and next week and for the foreseeable future. We don't really know how long this is going to go, but we're going to keep offering as much as we can. We work for Knowing Technologies, which is a company that offers both managed services to schools as well as personalized coaching. So we're part of an instructional innovation team, and what we do is that we work with teachers to help them meaningfully integrate technology into the classroom. So as you can tell with this COVID-19, like our jobs have amped up like crazy because everybody and their mama is doing distance learning right now. So we thought to ourselves, okay, well, we are a team of talented people. We're going to offer Spark sessions. So you can see this week, we already started yesterday. These are small 30-minute bite-sized chunks of information about things that either everyone is using right now and it's a hot topic, or things that will elevate your learning experience for your students in this learning space. These are all things that have been used in classrooms before, but we're going to take a little bit of a different angle on it today and in future sessions to show you how you can make it work for distance learning. In order to access the updated presentations, I encourage you to go ahead and follow us on our Twitter page. If I can show you right here, this is our Twitter account. It's at KnowingTech12. And if you follow it, we post daily little tidbits of information, new sessions coming up, recordings. All of us contribute to it, so I recommend for you to follow that as well. All right, so today in the morning, we talked about screen recording. This afternoon, I'm going to talk about collaborating with Jamboard, and later on at 3 p.m. PST, we're going to talk about Loom, how to screencast. Okay, so like I said, small bites of information, use a chat window. Everything is recorded, so if you want to watch it again or if you want to share it, you can. And really just remember at the end of the day, no matter where you are, you got this. I mean, we work with so many teachers. Some teachers are just getting into this and it's like flying by the seat of our pants. Some of us are a little bit more comfortable, and others are really looking on how to elevate the next level. Doesn't matter where you are, the whole country is in this with you, and we'll figure it out. If you're looking for a more customized coaching experience, or if you have any questions, you can also email us, because one of us will get back to you as soon as possible. All right, it's not Monday, it is Tuesday. It's not screen recording on iPad. Let's talk about Jamboard. So if you can, open up the presentation that I sent you, or you can follow along with me here. And I'm going to spend the next half hour talking to you about Jamboard. I'll start by introducing you to it. I'll share some resources, which are all links that you can see right there in the slide. I'm going to help you figure out how to make Jamboard work on all of your devices with whatever you have, and for your students as well. I'll show you how to join or create a jam or a Jamboard, ways that you can use Jamboard in your teaching practice, no matter what you teach, as well as how to make it work with distance learning. And then at the end, I'll have you join a Jamboard that I created, and we'll just play around with it, okay? I attached a photo here with things that Jamboard can help you with. This is from Google for Education. It's an amazing tool for problem solving, teamwork, critical thinking, creativity, collaboration. It's wonderful, and it's part of the Google world, and that holds a special place in my heart. So let's talk about it. I'm gonna go ahead and first start by talking about what is Jamboard. Basically, it is a cross-platform application. It's wonderful, wonderful, because it helps students and educators and colleagues collaborate from different devices across different mediums. It's an awesome solution for educators that want to be working with their students on group projects, or if you want to be able to mirror your screen and you're struggling with that. Jamboard can be accessed in so many different ways, and it's very dynamic. Nice things about it as well is that it does shape and text recognition for students that would like to, I don't know, do geometry, for example, or if you have younger kids that want to draw, it helps them recognize certain shapes. It helps you with team brainstorming, and there's so many different creative ways that you can use it as well. Think, for example, Google Slides. Google Slides has a collaborative feature in it as well, but people are typing. With Jamboard, you can type, you can draw. It's basically just a nice, clean whiteboard for you. And chances are, you probably already have it, you just didn't know. So I'll show you how to access it, okay? How do you get Jamboard to work on your devices? It works on everything. It can work on your phone. It can work on your tablet. It can work on any Apple device. So if you have a MacBook or an iPad, if you have a Chromebook, or if you're a school that has Chromebooks issued, it can work on that as well. And there's also an actual Jamboard, but I'm not going to spend any time talking about that today because it's like a physical board, and that's something that you would use in a classroom. So I'm going to talk about the digital sphere of how it works. Chances are, if you're part of a school that has G Suite for education, you have Jamboard. Or if you have a Gmail or a Google account, you have Jamboard. So I'm going to first start by showing you how to access it on your computer, and then I'll show you how you can toggle between all different devices, because I have, hella devices going on here, and I'll show you how to access it on all of them, okay? Simply put, if you want to get to Jamboard, you go to jamboard.google.com. As you can see right here, I have a whole bunch of Jamboards that my team and I have started or created, and we're going to play with one together. Another way to access Jamboard on your computer is right here. There's a button at the top. I like to call this the waffle. If you ever go into any Google application, whether it's Google Docs or your Gmail or Google Earth or Maps or whatever the heck it is, there's this little waffle at the top. And if you click on it, these are all the apps that come along with your subscription. Right here, I see Jamboard. If you don't see it in the little waffle thing, you can click on more from G Suite Marketplace. And it's important to also note that if you click on this and you don't see it and you're part of a school, that feature is probably turned off. So I would reach out to my IT person. I've worked with a couple of schools where it's a matter of turning it on to be able to access it. So that's another way. Jamboard.google.com. If you are on a tablet or if you are on an iPad, it's an actual app that you need to download. So I'm going to stop my screen sharing for a moment here, and I'm going to show you what it looks like on my iPad right here so that you can see. Here we go. Let me go ahead and get into my iPad and share it with the cable. This is why I love Zoom. You can just share basically anything you want. I'm just sharing this pause. There it is. There's my iPad. So you can see right here at the bottom, there's the Jamboard app. This is one of the jams that I've started, and I can see my whole team here as well. And if you're on a Chromebook, they're one of those Chrome extension apps that you can download as well, and your students can use that on their computers as well. So first step, make sure that you get Jamboard on your computer or on your tablet. Okay, I'm back to my screen right here. In order to join or create a jam, it's pretty simple. If you're back on the Jamboard slide right here, you see this little orange button down here? If you click it, that creates a new jam. Boom. I'm going to start by showing you a couple of the features in the Jamboard in just a moment, but I want you to see what I was describing, how it's just a clean, collaborative whiteboard. If you want to be able to share this with your students, you just go ahead and click on Share in the top right corner. Mine right now is currently private to only me, and you can change the access settings, much like any Google product that you've used before, Google Docs, Google Slides, whatever it is. And you would go ahead and take that link and you can put it in your school's LMS, whether they use Schoology or Canvas or any platform that they use, you can put it for them. Or simply, if you're in a Zoom session with your students, you can just boop, post that inside the channel and the kids can go ahead and access it, okay? So as you can see here, there's a couple of features that I'm going to show you, but I want to make sure that you know how to join a jam or how to share a jam with your students or with your colleagues or whatever. So let's talk a little bit about the features in Jamboard. I'm going to show you how you can jam with your students right here. These are so many different ways that I've seen educators use Jamboard before. Of course, you can use it for collaborative work. You can use it with your students for sketchnoting. You can do it to solve math problems. You can upload photos, so snap a picture of your book and share. We call that book snaps. You can do it in a way where you make a slide for every student, and so you can have one shared Jamboard for the whole entire learning space, but then everybody gets to collaborate. You can insert or take photos, and because it's part of the whole Google world, you can also add a file in there from Google Drive. Here are some examples. This one student did a moonshot project. Notice how this educator put in like an already created image and the students can draw in there. Here's some other examples. The educator started their class with a warm-up on the screen or in the classroom on the board, and they're giving the students directions, and then there's a slide for each kid and they can go ahead and write in there. Or you can see here some directions for a math problem. Notice that you can also insert graph paper, which is really powerful for students to be able to use. And you can also do some whiteboard practice. Here's a really cool example about how you can use Jamboard to do collaborative timelines. This is called the Berlin Wall Jamboard. And this is the work of a student. So you can see that it's very like, you know, they're brainstorming, they're putting Post-its in, they're putting images in. And if I look in the next pages right over here, oh, there used to be stuff there. I don't know what happened. Let's just pretend that didn't happen. But you can see on this page right here, how the students have kind of started collaborating together. So one of my favorite things about distance learning, especially with Jamboard, is that I've noticed a lot of issues where educators are having a hard time mirroring. Like they can share what's on their computer, but if they're used to writing on their iPad, for example, or if they're used to writing on their phone, it's really nice because it's cross-platform. Or if they use, for example, something like Zoom, there's a whiteboard feature in Zoom, which is wonderful, but it's only one-sided. The teacher can only write. I've gotten this point or this sore point or this question a lot, especially from educators that work one-on-one with students. Okay, so I'm going to show you some features of Jamboard so that you're used to it. And if you'd like, you can follow along with me and you can play as well. So here we go. All right. I have a link here that says join my jam. So if you'd like, you can click on that link and you can join my Jamboard with me. If I go ahead and I click on it, this is an untitled or practice Jamboard playground for us to be on. So go ahead and join. I can see that an anonymous capybara joined. So go ahead and join with me and I'll give you an opportunity to play around with it, and I'll show you the features that you can do as well. I'm going to switch over from my screen onto my iPad because I have an Apple Pencil and it's easier to use while I wait for the remainder of you to join. So one moment here. Make sure I'm in on my Jamboard. Let's share my iPad. Okay, should load in a second here. Come on. There we are. Okay, are we in? Give it a couple more seconds. So I'm gonna jump into this Jamboard. All right, so let me start by showing you a couple of features first, okay? If you look at this top over here, you are able to click on the arrow and you can add different slides. So right now there's 2 slides, 3 slides, whatever. You can go ahead and claim a slide if you want. So if you'd like to add a slide for yourself, that's perfectly fine. Sometimes what I like to do is if you look in the first slide right over here, I insert a post-it. So for example, if you see that plus on the side over here, I insert a sticky note and I write my student's name. I'm like, this is yours. You can go ahead and collaborate on that. I can make the post-it as big as I want or as small as I want. I can rotate it. So take a minute, if you can, make a slide for yourself and put a post-it on it with your name, like this is mine. One thing you can also do is, depending on what you teach or what you collaborate with, there's these little 3 buttons at the very top right. So if you look at slide number 1, I like to call that the snowman. If you click on that, you can pick the background that you want. So dots, a single color, lines, graph paper. So I'm gonna claim my slide. I'm gonna take the first right here. I can double click on it and I'm gonna name it myself, Iman. Okay. All right, that's my slide right there. So take a moment, claim a slide for yourself, make a background, put a sticky note, or you can write, this is my slide, it doesn't matter. Understand that if you are doing Jamboard on a computer, it's gonna be a little bit more awkward to write something with the pen, but you can do it with the trackpad, or you can use a sticky note. If you're on your phone, or if you're on your tablet or your iPad, you can do it with your finger, or you can do it with a pen if you have one. Okay. All right, I can see here people are popping in. Awesome. All right. Now, you'll notice that on the side right here, there's a whole bunch of different features that you can use, and I'm going to take a minute and show you each of them. All right. Clearly, if you click on the pen, there's different colors that you can use for the pen. You can use the thicker pen. I don't know what it's called, whatever. You can use a highlighter, and you can use the paintbrush right there. This feature right here called Assistive Drawing Tools is mega powerful for younger students, okay? If I go ahead and click on the letters right here, this recognizes text, which is super powerful. But then if you click on this second one right here, this recognizes shapes, and this last one is called Auto Draw. This is really helpful for younger students if they're trying to express something to you and they can't quite draw it perfectly yet. It'll say, did you mean? And it'll ask them what kind of images they want to draw. So for example, if I pick this right here and I'm trying to draw, God help us, if I'm trying to draw a cat, first it thought I'm trying to draw bread. That's not what I'm doing. But, oh yeah, I want that thing right there. So it helps you recognize the shapes, and the students can, let me undo that. I didn't mean to do that. The students can move it around. They can manipulate it. You can throw it in the trash if you don't want it anymore. That's super awesome. Clearly, if you notice here, I clicked on the cursor on the side. That's how you pick something. Otherwise, it makes a pen mark. If you're an educator and you want to show the kids with a laser pointer, you can click on that thing right there and just circle, boom, and it disappears, which is really cool. If I go ahead and I click on the plus down here, that's where I can insert a sticky note. I can put pictures. I can put in content from my drive because it's linked to your Google account. I can take a photo. I can pick from the image library, or I can also put stickers as well. Yay! Okay, and you can also duplicate things. So you click 3 on the side right here, and you can duplicate it, and you can move it wherever you want. So I want to give you some time to be able to play around with it as well, and start brainstorming and thinking, how can I use this for my collaborative learning space? Because imagine, I mean, people use Jamboard in their classrooms, which is wonderful. Now you're going completely digital. You're going completely virtual. How can you use this in your asynchronous sessions or your synchronous sessions? Is it helpful for you to use when you're not face-to-face with your students on video? Or do you want to do something where you want to work with your kids and start your class together and then have them do breakout sessions and they collaborate? It's a great place to save the information as well, to see your students thinking. Does that make sense? I'm just gonna look and see what other people are doing because I'm curious. Oh, hey, nothing. Mine. I will use this slide. Oh, hi, Laura. That's awesome. A square. Perfect. Nothing. And nothing. That's fine. But you can take the time to play around with it as well. So I'm going to stop sharing my iPad right now. I'm going to pop back to the presentation because I want to make sure that I'm addressing everything. Where are we? Okay. Come on. Share my screen, fam. There we go. All right. So, like I said, if I pop back to this thing right here, these are all the ways that I've seen educators use it, especially with the distance learning going on right now. It's really helpful for both synchronous and asynchronous learning. And by that, I mean, when I say asynchronous, I mean when you're not face-to-face with them and you're like, by Friday, complete this, whatever. Or when it's synchronous and you are face-to-face with each other. It's super powerful to see the work that everyone is doing. I think that's about it in terms of how to use Jamboard and what to use it for. Laura, your hand is up. Let me go ahead and unmute you. Go ahead and ask or speak.
The questions we're getting on the chat and that I saw is that some of the features you were sharing, such as the plus sign and the auto draw, are not on the computer version. Is that true, or are we missing something?
Ah, good question. Okay, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Laura, I think that not all of them are available on the computer version, but we can practice that right now as we speak. Here we go. Here's my Jamboard. I'm on the computer right now. I'm not using my iPad anymore. It's the same Jamboard though. Let's see here. That is absolutely correct. So on the iPad, if you notice at the bottom, there was a plus sign. This is what you get here. You get the pen, you get the eraser, the cursor, the sticky note, and the images as well. It looks a little bit different on the iPad. And if I recall correctly, on the Chromebook, it's just like a computer. It doesn't have the plus thing. That was a good question. Are there any other questions? Okay, then I'll put your hand down. Just kidding. Any other comments or questions or feedback or ways that you can see yourself using this in your learning space? I see that somebody just sent one right now. Let's see here. This is from Beth. Does this function like Smartboard where you can upload an image and then write over it? Absolutely it does. So for example, I can show you right now. Let's go ahead and do that. So if I upload an image, I'm going to add an image. First, I'm going to X out of this chat feature because it's okay. So let's go ahead and say a Google image search. Cat. Boom. Okay. Notice how you can put a Google image search, which is actually really powerful. Pen, annotate over it. That makes sense? So it's really cool. And what I like about it too is you can manipulate the images and move them and make it bigger or smaller or whatever. I want to show you, this is something that I actually wanted to show you and a cool way to use it. I mentioned this very briefly, but some educators do something called book snaps. Okay, so what a book snap is, if I can find it, where the heck did I put it? Let me just go to my Jamboard again. Jamboard, jamboard.google.com. So my team and I were reading a book together called Edu Protocols. And one of the things that we chose to do is when we were reading the book, we were each assigned a chapter, or we were each assigned a portion of the book. So imagine like a book club with your students or a book that you want them to read together. When they came across something that they really liked, they took a screenshot of it and then they synthesized it in their own words. So for example, I'm going to get to that question in a moment. I see it. Okay. So for example, we highlighted the name of each person, what they would take a look at or what they would do. And then you can see, for example, this is Crystal. She's my teammate. She saw the part in the book that she liked, she highlighted it, and she described what it meant to her. And that can be something really powerful that you use with your students as well. I'm going to go ahead and address the chat that I just received from Laura. Yes, images can be imported and annotated. Oh, thank you, Laura. I didn't, I didn't realize that what she did. But you can use it as well in terms of analyzing what the kids are saying. If you are a language teacher, or if you're an art teacher, or even if you're a science or math teacher, how you access that information. Are there any other questions or are there any comments? This is the opportunity for you to unmute yourself or ask a question or raise your hand. I can exercise wait time because I'm a teacher, so I'm a wait. Yeah. 10 more seconds. If this integrates into Google Classroom, would you make it part of an assignment? Absolutely, you can. The best way to integrate something is just to take the link and put it in. You get what I mean? So whenever you create your jam and you want to share it, you just go ahead and pop it in. So you can absolutely make it part of an assignment. I've seen educators before have their link in the Google Classroom or whatever LMS they're using, provide the directions and say, go find your slide. You know what I mean? And start answering it or collaborate. Here's your teams. Go figure it out. You know what I mean? There is an important element to this, which is the fact that yes, we are all educators and we are so used to putting expectation and ground rules in our classrooms. We have to do the same thing online. So you've got to establish etiquette with your students about what it means to collaborate in a digital learning space on Jamboard, for example. Because you could get the kind of kids that are on their slides together and they're like, I'm gonna delete what you did and I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that. And that's very possible and very likely as well if you don't establish those community rules, those social emotional learning things that we all got to infuse that honestly, personally, I believe, especially with distance learning, is super important. We got to focus on, as much on community as we do on academics because stuff is happening, y'all, you know? So I recommend that. Any other last minute thoughts or questions? Yay, you're welcome, Vicky. Okay. On that note, we are going to end a couple minutes early. This video recording is going to be saved and it's going to be placed in the slide deck that you just received from me, and I'll show you where just so that you know and you can share it with your buddies or your friends or yourself. Right here on this slide where it says access the final tutorial recording here, you will be able to see that just like on the previous days. For example, we've got all of our recordings saved, and make sure that you follow us on Twitter because we update weekly and you'll be able to see what we do. Okay. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. I really appreciate it, and have a good rest of your day.